Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to week 2, session 4. I actually love that we are getting along. Yesterday was very interesting. Most persons got to understand most things. Yesterday we talked about how CSS is, how to work with CSS, what are the ways you can create CSS files, external files, the three types of using CSS with HTML. So today we'll still continue in same vein in understanding a topic inside of CSS, which is called flexbox. We'll be starting with flexbox while we move over to the other one. So today we'll start with flexbox. Now, before I share my screen, let me do a recap. Now, in web development actually involves a whole lot of components. These components come together to actually enable you build a successful web page. So when we learn HTML, a bit of HTML, when we learn a bit of CSS, when we learn a bit of JavaScript, and then we come to do something, it does not mean we've abandoned everything in total. What I mean is, last week we learned HTML, and this week we are learning CSS. Someone might actually ask, why are we deflecting? Why are we actually leaving HTML and then going forward to learn CSS? So because of our time frame, we want to utilize every single part of our study plan. So if you check the course outline, every single day we hold a session has its own impact. So we cannot really learn HTML till the ending, then start going to learn CSS. That's not a proper way to learn, because HTML, CSS, and JavaScript work hand in hand to build a successful and optimized web page. So don't be bothered about, aren't we supposed to learn HTML to an extent before going on to learn CSS? No. As I earlier said yesterday, CSS is the tool that gives that aesthetics to web pages. So you cannot really build a page with only HTML and then expect users to be satisfied using your product. You need a complete system that involves functionality which has to do with JavaScript, which we would learn in the coming days, CSS, which has to do with aesthetics, animations, responsiveness, and what have you. So HTML too has its own. So we'll be combining the three as a three-edged sword to achieve our aim of learning front-end development. For those of us that have been reading ahead, kudos to you. I want to tell you you're doing great. Don't kill the fire. Read ahead, do things, practice on your own, and see how far you go. Yeah, so I want to define flexbox before I go on to share my screen. Now, what's flexbox? Today the first topic we'll be treating is called flexbox in CSS. Flexbox in CSS, or flexibility box in CSS. The two still appeals to what we want. Now, flexbox is actually a way we can create appealing, responsive, visual appealing boxes in CSS. So what it simply means is, using the power of CSS and utilizing flexbox, we can build boxes that can create appealing layouts. When we practice it, you get to understand. Flexbox enables us to have different views, horizontally and vertically. Now, I just want you to have this picture in your mind. Most of us, I know we've used different websites. If you watch well, have you ever been to a website and then you see three cards, three cards on the same line, one card, second card, and then a third card? The three cards actually have information on each of them. You all downloaded installed applications. Now, if you go on most websites that want you to install something, you see instructions. Oh, download for iOS, Mac, download for Mac, one card, download for Windows, one card, download for Linux, the three operating systems. All of these and many more can be achieved with the use of Flexbox. And that's what we want to learn today. Flexbox gives you that leverage to create aligning informations, aligning informations in a box, informations that are aligned. So we want to be able to actually learn Flexbox and then know its uses. Now, meanwhile, don't be lost. Don't get all worked up thinking about whatever we are learning. The purpose of whatever we are learning. Yesterday, we learned how to add color to our text, how to add margin, how to add height, how to add width, padding, and a border. All of that would be used to actually pull up a web page. So when we learn this, learn that, we would apply them in no time. Just try to not forget any single one of them. So when you learn each of them, you just get to get a hold of them, and then in due time you would apply them wherever you want. So let's say you want to apply a color to a text, you know that this is what you will do. This is what you do. You want this you want your images to be aligned. Oh, I would need to apply the theory of flexbox. I will need to apply this. I will need to apply width. Well, I need my image in my website a little bit. Let it have a little bit of height. Let it increase in height. I know that I need to apply height to the class of the image, just like that. So every single thing we are learning or we have learned are actually steps and guidelines that will help you build a successful front end page. So don't get caught up in, we have learned this today, we are learning something different today. No, it's like someone who wants to cook a meal. You have to get the ingredients involved. If I want to cook egusi soup, which is the most famous, one of the most famous soup here in Nigeria, I know that I'll need to get egusi, I'll need to get melon, this, that, I need to have my salt, maggi, leaf, and all of that. So all of that, so by the time I combine them, I would have a successful meal. I'll cook a successful meal. So whatever we are learning, it's good that you note them down. It's good that you memorize them so that when the need arises, you're able to apply them. So today is all about Flexbox. Let me share my screen so that we begin. Mr. Ri, good afternoon. Please, can you help me confirm if my screen is visible? And you can see
Visible,
CSS
it's visible.
Flex.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, okay, thank you so much. CSS Flexbox. Now, understanding Flexbox, one, used for one-dimensional layouts, row or column. I've defined Flexbox. I'm going on to now make you understand its main functions in CSS. Flexbox helps to provide easy alignment and distribution. So, what site should I use? Let me try to Let me think of a site for better description. Um, all right, this makes sense. Let me see if I can see a more better one. Correct. So, for example, look at this. We have this heading one called From Startups to Enterprises. GitHub skills with teams of any size in any industry. If you click on by size, another information comes up, but that's not our main focus. Now look at this. A very smooth. I love the animation, I love the flow, I love the design. Now look at this, but that's not our focus. Our focus is the card and how they are aligned. Flexbox has this alignment power that it gives and enables you have something, a layout like this. So with use of Flexbox, you can have this information laid out like this. So for instance, I actually give out an information and tell you, oh, you guys should help build your portfolio. And I want you guys to use 6 cards or 3 cards or 2 cards and display your information, the information about you. So on each one card, I want to be able to see your bio details, your name, your where your state of origin, name it. On one card, I should be able to see that details, your age and all of that. On the second card, I want to be able to see schools you attended from your primary school, secondary school, down to your university school, the school you attended for uni. And on the third card, I want to be able to see where you've worked, your work experience. This is actually how you'll be able to achieve it. You'll be able to achieve it through the use of Flexbox. Flexbox gives you that leverage to actually achieve all of that. So when you hear about Flexbox, you should know that it is a tool for alignment. It is a tool to create very good and smooth layouts. When I talk about layout, I am talking about web pages. So don't get it twisted. So Flexbox gives you that leverage to create aligned layout or develop aligned layout as the would actually sit down with you. Create or develop, any of them works. Flexbox, before I go on to do the practical, so that we don't get up, so you don't miss the word. That alone should give you a picture of what we would do already. So if someone tells you, oh, use Flexbox to actually align those things, you already know what to do. You already know that Flexbox is used to do this. If somebody looks at your page and say this page is not aligned, you already know that this is what you're supposed to actually do. You're supposed to use that Flexbox to actually, somebody looks at your page and say, why didn't you use Flexbox? The person is simply telling you indirectly that your page is not aligned. So Flexbox actually helps you to align your content so that it can look good. You can either align it vertically or horizontally, in rows or in columns. I hope this makes sense. Now let's go on to actually see some of our PowerPoint presentation. Now, I'll leave all of this. I would come back to this. The key properties. I'll come back to it. Okay, let me just treat it then because I'll still use it for practical purposes. So there are some key properties of flexbox. If you're to use flexbox to align your work, there are some key properties. Number one is display. You set your display to flex to actually begin with. When you're starting out, your display must be set to flex. Display is actually a property, a CSS property. So when you set your display to flex, the your HTML div elements, your HTML elements that you've picked up will be already set to flex immediately. Then you set your flex direction to either row or column. You know how row looks like, you know how column looks like. We would practicalize all of that. This is me just touching the theoretical aspect. Then your justify content, you either align the items horizontally using justify content, or you align them vertically using align items. Align items and justify content are properties in CSS. Flex wrap, you wrap the items as needed. We'll come to that. This is me pushing it to your faces before the practical aspect. Let's begin. Let's continue rather. Understanding grid layout. What's grid layout? So grid layout is used for two-dimensional layouts. We'll do that. It works with rows and columns. Key properties is, if you watch well, we set our display to flex in flexbox, but when it comes to grid layout, you set your display to grid and then go on to do the rest. We will do all of that. We'll practicalize all of that. CSS positioning, it controls how elements are placed in documents. Types are static, relative, absolute, and fixed, sticky. We'll practicalize all of that also. CSS transitions and animations. You can actually create beautiful animations using CSS transitions and animations. It helps you create beautiful states, smooth changes in and out of your content. Then media queries. So you want your work, your website, your web page to open on any device at all. So if I click www.timi.com, that website should align and fit the screen. Whether I'm using a phone, even if it's, I think the smallest phone I can remember is iPhone 6. So even if I'm using an iPhone 6 that has very small screen, our new phones nowadays don't have very tiny screen, but iPhone 6 really fits in. So even if I'm using an iPhone 6 kind of phone, your website should come up very smooth and very nice. Now let's go back to Flexbox. Now we'll be starting out with Flexbox. Let us before I go on, does anybody have a question before we go on to the practical aspect? Who has a question? All right. In the absence of no one, that actually signifies that there is no question. Now let's go over to our VS Code. Now, before I continue, please, just a gentle reminder. We are about entering a very serious kind of business here. Your VS Code should be very active, up and running by now. I've dropped all that you need for installation purposes and all of that. I want to think that we've taken it serious and we've had it installed already. Aside that, your GitHub, this is the last call. If you've not signed up on GitHub, please do so before the end of today. I will drop your assignments Monday morning. Your assignments will be dropped Monday morning. Now, I would put out a poll on the group. We would have an extra class in between the week. The reason for that class is it will be out of schedule, but it's optional if you want to join in. But I would actually indulge all of us to join in. I know we all have our schedules, and um, it's not in line with the scheduled class days, but I need to do that class because it is actually needed. The purpose of that class would be to show you how to use your VS Code properly. Secondly, the purpose of that class is to show you how to use GitHub properly. I need to have that class to enable us submit our assignments. That's the reason for that class. That it's not in our course outline. It's using so using of different tools is not actually in our course outline because that's you're yet to learn. Yeah, you're yet to learn. I showed us how to actually start a project with VS Code, but I really need to go deep to show you how to navigate smoothly. So I really encourage us to pull up for that class. I'll take a poll for us to choose. That class must hold from now, sorry, from Monday. Monday is public holiday, Tuesday is public holiday. So we need to choose either Monday or Tuesday evening. Either one of them, we must hold that class so that you can be able to submit your assignment. I will show you how to write codes on VS Code and then push them to GitHub to enable me view your work and your codes. That will now make me relate with every single one of you very um, in an effective way rather. So I'll be able to communicate very easily and tell you this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. Because if you write your code on your VS Code, I can't see them till you push to GitHub. So I need to teach you that. So we'll take a poll on the group after this class. You choose either Monday or Tuesday to have that classes, but the class must hold. So I'll not give assignment immediately. I'll wait till I have that class to enable us to understand how we would be able to submit. Thank you, everyone. Let's go back to our business for the day. So today is understanding flexbox. Okay. Mr. Larry, can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so guys, I am okay. Okay, so guys, yeah, you can mute us, Mike. I don't know whose mic is not muted. Someone's mic is not muted. Please help me mute
Sylvester,
your.
it's Sylvester.
Can you help me mute your mic? Thank you. Okay, so as stated, I am actually in the process of making us understand how Flexbox works. Remember, in this GitHub, we have three contents showing here. 1, 2, 3. There are contents. So first things first, I need to build up my contents. I need to build up my content, and that's what I'm currently doing inside of my body. So I created a container. It's like the container is actually a descriptive name I am giving to my entire boxes. So let me use boxes instead of container. So you can give it any name. Your boxes is actually a descriptive name. I'm giving all of them boxes, but each inside boxes, I'm giving them box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4 using ID. So an ID is actually a method you can use to actually give your div tag. When you have multiple div tags, you can actually use it to give a unique name to each of your divs. Now, let me make us understand. I know this is not part of the class, but I need to make us understand because I know many persons will be confused. Now, let me just drift away a bit. And you can have, you can be in a workplace, you can work in an organization, and then 10 persons in that organization out of 100 people can be answering favor. But there's a way to actually identify each of those favors, and we all know through the use of what? Surnames. Before you can master facials and all of that, you can use their surnames to know that this is favor, favor Chooks, favor this one, favor that one, through the use of their what? Surnames. Now, that is how it is in this field. When you're building something, when you're building a web page or whatever, you would have multiple divs. What is div? Div is called division tag. It is used to actually create division in your web page. So let's look at this GitHub, for example. If you watch well, there are so many divisions in this website. There is a from startups. This is a division on its own that has been divided. This is this is another division. All of these are divisions. So through the use of div tag, through the use of the div tag, we've been able to actually actualize and achieve dividing our work into different sections so that we know that when we are styling, we'll be able to know which one and which one. Now, how do we now achieve knowing where and where to style? We now use through the use of classes and IDs. So classes and IDs gives you the leverage to be able to style, to be able to add functionality to each of the divs you've created. So if you've not still understood till this point, just have that mental picture of I have 10 favors in my work. How am I going to be able to know which favor and which favor to work with? Sure you get. Now, let's say you want to have different colors. Without the use of this ID, I won't be able to know how to apply different color. If I just apply a blue color to this div tag, it will affect all of them because they'll be bearing the same name, box, box, box. So you can see they are all bearing the same name, box. But how would I be able to individually give them different colors? I'll use an ID and give them separate name. Box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4. So all I need to do in my CSS file is just pick up the name. A, box 1, oya you collect the following name. Collect the following this thing, blue color. A, box 2, collect the following this thing. Just like that. As simple as ABC, you don't need to do much. I hope we've had better understanding of that. It's not part of the class, but it needs to be stated because we'll be using it onwards. Let's even check our work on the out so that we know what we are doing. What port is that? Port 550. Okay, so you can see 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box. Now let's do some things to it. Now remember, let's confirm boxes. So boxes is the general name for all of them. Boxes is like the father or the mother that gave birth to these 4 boxes. So we need, so for you to actually have a general styling for all of them, you now pick up the name dot boxes, and then inside of it you set the display to flex because it is what a flex box we are treating now. Now remember in our presentation, let's go back to our presentation. Understanding flexbox, you need to set the first property, which is the display. The display must be set to flex unless you're doing rubbish. So your display must be set to flex. Let's see our work. Correct. So you can see we've already had a setup already. Now before we go on, let's style our box. Now this box is actually for every single one of these box. Let's style it. Let's give it some aesthetical look. Dot box. So this styling would be so for in order to avoid confusion, I think let me use container instead. Yeah, container. I'm putting all of them in a container. So it's like having it's like a briefcase, right? The briefcase is the container, and all my boxes are inside the briefcase. So let me use container instead to avoid conflict, naming conflict. Dot container dot box. So the next thing inside the box, I would remember what we learned yesterday. So I'll set the width to 150 px. I'll set the height to 150 px. Let's go and check our correct. So you can see 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, 4 box. Now, the next thing we would do is give each of them a background color so that we will see what is going on. So I would let's also confirm that that's the name for that. So box 1, box 1, background color, give it a background color of black. So we've given box 1 a background color of black. Now let's go on. Box 4, box 3, box 2. Yeah, so let me make the text of this. Let me make all of them white so that the text can be appreciated. One box, two box, three box, four box. Now, looking at these, we've been able to achieve a flex box. But we have been able to achieve flex boxes. And if you look at this, oh, it's not here. Let's go back to our GitHub. So if you look at these, it's still the same technique used. Three boxes are currently here. And our own might not be as beautiful as this because we are just starting out. So you don't expect it to, it's a step by step. We are getting there. Now, but our own are four boxes actually. One box, two box, three box, and four box. Now, why is this fine, beautifully, and it makes sense. Everything looks well, but then let's make it look more appealing. Currently now it's a flex box, but why? Let's try to do some. Let's add more things to it. So I will go into the I'll go into the container aspect, and then let me also give it from yesterday's class. Let me add a border just to make it interesting. Let's use all that we've learned so far. So I'll just give it 20 here. Please, somebody mute your mic, please. Help me. Help me mute your mic. Thank you. Someone's mic is not muted, please. Okay. Let me leave the border out first, so it doesn't give us a very ugly design. So let me go into the container. So inside of the container, I'll start applying the flex properties. And what is the second flex property then? The second flex property is flex direction. Now, flex direction. So I'll either set the flex direction to column. Let me check. So if you set your flex direction, by default is on row. By default, it's on row. Yes, by default, it's on row, but you need to actually set it yourself. So for alignment purposes, column based makes sense, but then let's make it look more interesting. So you can also use column reverse. So column reverse would take it up, so it gives it some level of alignment, but then anything column, know that it's horizontal. Now let's also continue. Let's add more things to it. Let's use row instead. Row looks more appealing. The next is actually to use our justify content. So justify content flex. So when you use flex start, so by default it's already on flex start. Box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box. Now let's use flex end. By default it's on flex start. Now if we use flex end, this would now shift all the boxes to this other way. So instead of this one box to be here, it will now start from here. Let's apply it and see what it does. So we use flex end. Let's see. So you can see it shifted the boxes to the ending of the other. We actually set our flex direction to row. So it's not from up to down. Now it's actually on vertical axis. Now when you set your justify content to flex and it takes it this way. So let's also try out other properties. We also have center. So it takes, when you use the justify content center, it takes the boxes and keep them in the center of the page. Let's also use, I think, space in between. Let's have some space in between the boxes. Space between. So it creates space in between each of the boxes when you use the value of space in between on the justify content property. So you can see it has created some space in between each of the boxes. Now let's also use space around. Space around gives it a space around the boxes. So around the boxes, there's space given to each of the boxes. Let's also use space evenly. Exactly. Now there are also other things we can also use, like the flex wrap. Now the flex wrap is very interesting. Let me use it, then show us what it also can do. Now you may not really understand what that flex wrap would do, but then let's go back to our HTML and then increase the number of our boxes. Okay, we've added additional boxes. Now let's go back. Now if you watch well, remember what I told you guys about giving classes. Let me deflect a bit. You can see that we have purple, 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 like up to like 5. That's because on the HTML we have like one ID named purple. Sorry, box 4 on like 5 of them. Box 4, box 5, 4, box 4, box 4, box 4. But if I change them to 5, if I change it to 6, if I change this one to 7, if I change it to 8, you see that it's only going to be one. Okay, I did not change the last one. Box 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Where is that one getting purple from? 4, 4. Okay, you can see that we were able to actually get just some out of the whole purple thing because their IDs have been changed. Their IDs have been changed. So let's actually go back to how we were before. All right. Okay, so flex wrap gives you that privilege of aligning the boxes. So as the boxes increases, there's alignment for them. As the boxes increases, there's alignment for them. Let's remove that. Let's even increase the number of boxes and still see. So we would see this. You can see that it pushed the next box to the next line. Now let me take out that flex wrap. Let me take out the flex wrap out of it. Let me take out the flex wrap out of it and then see what happens. If I take out the flex wrap out of it, you can see that it's merged all of them into the same line, which doesn't make sense and it's not visually looking good. So for good aesthetics and good layout, you actually need to use your flex wrap on that part of it. So let's go back and still apply flex, and then yes, so let's test our code. Okay, so let's test our code. So you can see it actually took it to the next, to the next line. So that's one major use we actually make use in it. So let's check before we continue. Let me reduce the amount we had to the initial. Um, let's remove the rest of them. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. So before we move over to grid, let me take in questions at this point. So it doesn't look like, because it's already an hour already. So who has questions so far? Thus far.
Please, I have a
Please, I
question,
have a
sir.
question, sir.
Okay, go on.
All right,
All
I'm
right,
looking
I'm
at that
looking at that
flex wrap.
flex wrap.
Sorry,
Sorry,
space
space
evenly
evenly
and
and
space
space
around.
around.
When you try
When you
both,
try both,
they look
they look
alike.
alike.
Can you
Can you
kindly give a
kindly give
distinct
a
differences between both?
differences
Is it
between
that
both?
the
Is it
space
that the
around
space
is
around
around
is around
the four
the
edges of
four
the
edges of
box,
the
while
box?
the
Why
space
the space
evenly
evenly
is just
is
the
just
right
the
and left,
right and left, right and
of each
of
box?
each box?
So the space around distributes spaces. The space around actually distributes space evenly around flex items with equal space. That's what it does for the space. So space around and space evenly actually almost do the same thing. Evenly actually distributes the same space around the flex items with equal space between them, between each item. Space around still almost do the same work. So you can actually use each of them for each purpose. Don't let that not disturb you. The main purpose is ensure you know how to apply your flex box on your HTML element. Who has questions? Who has questions?
I have a question.
Okay, one by one. Let Stephanie go on. Let me
Please,
mute my mic. Hold on. So
please
that it
continue
seems
as
like
you.
echo on the background. Let me mute my mic.
Okay, please, I would like to know about the flex app. I didn't really get it, like the function and
You would like to know
giving
what?
me your illustration. Flex wrap.
Okay, you would like to know what FlexWrap does.
Yes, because from your illustration, I
I
understood the
understood the
specify and
and
the
the
flex
flex
direction,
direction, but
I didn't get the picture.
Okay. Let me do that. Sorry, my mic was muted. I was speaking all through. Stephanie, can you hear me? Stephanie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Yes, I
you
can hear
now.
you now.
Okay, thank you. Now, look at these three boxes. If they were to have like three more boxes and they want to maintain the same size, it will not make sense. It will be looking all dirty. Now, but with the use of flex wrap, you can now have, when it gets to the fourth box, if you use flex wrap and you apply flex wrap, it will now take the fourth box to come and start at this point. The fifth box will not be here, the sixth box will not be there. Then when it gets to the next, sorry, when it gets to another, maybe there's a seventh box, it will now start again just like that. That's use of flex wrap. But if you don't use flex wrap, your boxes will just be joining together. It will not go to the next line. Let me just use that plain explanation for you. Do you now understand?
Yes, I
Yes, I
understand. Thank you.
understand. Thank you.
No problem. Who has questions again?
I have
I have
questions, sir.
questions, sir.
What's your
Good,
question?
Good,
good afternoon,
good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
My mic. Let me mute my
Um,
mic.
I learned
I learned
the
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 section tag
section
and the
tag
div
and the
tag.
div
They
tag.
almost
They
perform
almost perform
the same
the same
function.
function.
If true, I
If
don't
true, I
know
don't
if we
know
can
if we
use
can use
section tag
section tag
um
um
in place
in
of the
place
div
of the
tag.
div tag.
Thank you very much. So, Emmanuel, best practices. Yes, can you use a section tag? Beautiful. But is it needed now? No. If I only use a section tag when I am embarking on a major project. Now, let me give you an instance. I am embarking on a project that has um, multiple pages, and then each inside my website I'll be having different sections, a contact section, a section where people can send in inquiries, a section for this and all of that. That is when I use the section tag to actually stack my code, give it proper arrangement. But for a small project like that, in our coming days, we'll use section tag. We've not gotten there. It's like you want to get to London without using the airport, right? So just hold on, we'll get there. The div tag we are using is because we are dealing with just little examples at the moment. Using a section tag when you're not having so many sections in your work doesn't make sense. Use your div first. When you're done, when you've mastered div, you can now get to section. So Emmanuel, are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
perfect.
I'm
I'm
good,
good,
sir.
sir.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
No wahala. So who has questions? Who has questions? It's 4 p.m. so that we can proceed to the next.
Please,
Please,
I'm not clear
I'm not
about
clear about
boxing.
boxing.
You're not clear about the flex box.
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately, is there anybody that is not clear about the flex box? If we are up to 5 that don't understand about the flex box, I'll recap again. Is there anybody again on this call that does not still understand what flexbox is? If you don't understand, signify now, let me know.
Mr.
Mr.
At
I
the
hope
end of
at
the
the end of the class,
Okay, okay, it's fine. Everybody mute your mic. Let me recap so that we move forward. Let me use 5 minutes to do that. Please mute your mics. Let me see, mute your mic. Thank you. All right. Let me recap. Now, Let me use GitHub because this is not a finished product. So you might still be having some difficulties having the picture in your mind. I love using a finished product so that you know that, okay, this is what we aim to achieve. Let me um, let me use that. Let me check for their learning pattern. Correct, correct, correct. This is what I was looking for. Thank you. Now, most of you use websites almost every day of your life. Flexbox, when I tell you, see, build this web page and make sure you use Flexbox. All I'm trying to tell you is make sure you align your content. And aligning your content means the usage of Flexbox. As simple as ABC. Now, what is Flexbox? Flexbox is just a CSS property. It's a CSS property used to do what? To align items on your web page. ABC. You don't need to crack your brain around it. Now, you know that without proper alignment, your website will look anyhow. Your website won't be attractive for users. For proper alignment, you need to make use of the Flexbox party. And how do you make sure you use that? By applying the Flex property. Now look at this website, github.com, learning patterns, pathways. You can see that they have AI-powered development with GitHub Copilot, CI/CD with GitHub Actions, Shift left with GitHub Advanced Security, Administration and Governance with GitHub Enterprise. 4 of them all stacked on the same line. This on the same line vertically, they are all stacked up like this. Now, you as a technical person, the question should be asked, how were they able to achieve all of that? Look at this. On the same line with the text properly arranged under each of the images, you can see them. Flexbox gives you that leverage to have this kind of scenario on your web page. As simple as ABC. Now look at, let's go down. So they also use it there. Now they have 4 boxes there. Look at these 4 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if they all agree that we'll have this size of box, this width, and this height. But if they are using this height and this width of boxes, how would they achieve these 4 boxes on the same line? It will not be possible, except they are using a large screen. This is a laptop screen. Maybe you're using maybe any screen more than this 1200 pixels. Then maybe it will not be on the same line. But this, according to this screen, the third one now has to come down and start under this first one, just like that. If there's a fifth one now, it will now come here fast, just like that. All of this is to actually achieve alignment. So the use of Flexbox is to achieve what? Alignment, layouts that have alignment in them. And when you have alignment on your website will be readable and then enjoyable by users, right? That's the end point. So it gives you all of this leverage. You don't need to do much. Does it make sense? What's your name?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all. You don't need to stress yourself. You don't need to just have that mental picture. Now we were trying to do the same thing. That's why you cannot see. We created 1, 2. But if you observe, the more you let's even do. Let's touch some things. Let's go to box 1. So look at box 1. Box 1. Then now let's add. Okay, let's even add a general width to them. So let's say we have a width of 550 px. We've increased all of them their width. Now let's go and check. Let's check something. So they've increased. Let's even increase it more. So okay. So can you observe the third box now came under the first one? Immediately we increase the width because with this same size, it cannot maintain the same line. Why is that possible? Because we are using flex, and then flex wrap is actually evident in our code. In fact, let us even clear flex wrap. Let's go back. So you can see that it forced itself on one line, which is not visually, it does not make sense. It does not make sense because we want a large width. We want a more wide width. So to enable that, to use our own width, that's why we now apply the flex wrap. Okay, okay, I think I would um, let me reduce this to one. Yeah. So um, grid layout used for two-dimensional layouts works with. So because of time, I think what I'll do is, because we have grid layout to do, we have CSS positioning to do, and we have CSS transitions and animations. We also have media queries. So let me type them out as codes and then explain. So just let me go back so that I can actually, let me just type all of them out and then explain. So the first thing we'll do is, so for each of them, so that someone will not say we missed out on anything. So let me ensure I have all of them. Flex grid layout. So this will be for flex, and then that we can have time to ask questions. So this is for flex. The next thing would be for grid. Please help me. Someone's mic is not muted. Please help me mute your mics. Thank you. We are done with the grid. The next thing is position. Please, someone's mic is not muted. Please help me. Someone's mic is not muted. Please, everyone check that your mic is not muted, please. Please, I'm still on the call. I'm trying to make sure that I write out every single thing, then explain them so that we don't actually dwell on them. We've spent so much time on Flexbox. So let's actually maximize our time. That's for flexbox. So let's do for grid. So when you're doing for grid, I'll just be talking as I'm typing. So this time, instead of setting the display to flex, you set the display to grid. For the positioning, our attendance will soon start. Immediately after I'm done explaining and I'm taking questions, I would take in your attendance, and then we'll also decide when to hold our extra class for you to know how to use GitHub. I will also put out my GitHub name so that you can actually connect with me. Just after this class, I'll do all of that so that I can see your works individually all the time and see your progress. I'm almost done. You know what's my obsession with aquamarine? And for the last one, our media query. Our media query. Yeah, so let's work on the media query, then I'll start explaining. Um, what's that name again? What name did I give to it? Okay, responsive box dot responsive box. Okay, Okay, let's begin. Mr. Good afternoon. Please, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
can hear you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, guys, sorry for the little time. I had to type out everything at once so that I explain them from top to bottom. So let me start. I won't be touching the flex. I just had to type out a flex so that because we treated it today, so that I still have that in view. But I think with all I've said so far, you understand the flex. Now, the grid. So this is how the grid operates, right? A second, let me see what I'm missing. Um, okay, I think this is super perfect. There's nothing to add. Now, in CSS, we have the flexbox and then we have the grid. Yeah. So they look alike visually, but they are not the same thing. Yeah. So they have little similarities like layout management. Both grid and flex help manage the layout of element on a web page, but they are not alike. Grid and flex can also do responsive, um, anything responsive, but they are not still alike. So what are those differences? The differences is layout structure. Grid is a two-dimensional layout model. Grid is two-dimensional that allows rows and columns. Flex is one-dimensional layout model focusing on either rows or columns. What it means is, let me explain. This grid you're seeing can have both rows and columns at the same time. That means you can have rows, you can have rows like this inside the same DI view. You can have rows, you can have columns on the same um, box, on the same div. But in terms of flex, it's either you do rows, but you cannot have columns. You cannot have boxes that go down inside this thing that goes down and go like this, vertical and horizontal at the same time. It's either you're on vertical one or you're on horizontal. Grid can entertain both of them, both columns and both rows. You can have the two at the same time using grid. Space distribution. Grid provides more advanced space for distribution options and all of that, complexity and what have you. So grid is generally more complex and more powerful than flex, but also challenging to learn and master. So it takes time for you to grasp it, but you will use flex very easily because it's very easy to use, very easy to learn. But grid is more complex. I hope I'm able to communicate that. Grid and flex almost do the same thing, but they are not alike. They are not the same thing. What I mean is, grid cannot do the same thing flex does. Flex only concentrates on one thing per time. What let me use for example, as a human being, you can once you're eating, you know you're eating. You cannot be eating and batting at the same time. It's very weird. That means you're mad or something. But greed is that human being that can bat, can eat, and read at the same time. Flex box is one dimensional, it does one thing per time. So it's either your boxes are in horizontal line or vertical line. It cannot be at the two the same time. But grid can entertain such such scenario at the same time. Now let's move over to positioning. So positioning. Now, if you watch well, look at these. Let me increase the width of that. Fix. Let me increase the height. Let me give it a very big height so that thank you. Now, if you I have a site I did. Yes, I have a site I did. Where is my site? Yeah, I showed you guys yesterday, or have I closed it? Let me open it. I have a better understanding from there. Correct. So on this my site, Mr. Ri, please, can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can
Yes,
see
I
your
can see
screen.
your screen.
Thank you. So this site, I did it some days ago. I wrapped it up. So actually, look at this WhatsApp icon. This WhatsApp icon, no matter how I scroll and enter on any page, it does not even move. It's just there. It does not move. Look at it. It's just there. This is it. Let me go back to our work. Now, with positioning, with positioning in CSS, you're able to actually position your elements as you desire. As you desire. So for instance, this absolute means as I'm scrolling, I just want it to follow the way the screen is scrolling. I want it to follow the scroll behavior. I don't want it to be static. But with this fixed, I'm able to actually achieve the aim of keeping it at one place. So no matter how I scroll or anything, it is fixed there. It is sticked, it is sticking, it is sticked to the screen. It's not moving, it's not scrolling. So no matter how you scroll, it's not moving. Let me move over to the media query. Um, so our media query, let me dwell a bit on this part. We'll still do more of it, but this is an introduction to it. Now, if you look at, let me use my website as an example. Um, Look at my website, for example, that I built of recent. This website is perfect on this laptop, right? You can see how the layout is. You can see how it is. Now, the question now lies. The question now lies. What if I open this on? What if I open this on tablet, or what will now be the case? Would it still open well? Um would this still fit my screen? That's another question. So now let me show you guys. Now you can see that it now adjusted to the size. After reducing it, I reduced the screen size, and you can see that it adjusted to it. That's what media query can actually help you achieve. It helps you achieve responsiveness. Today we'll be introducing it. Other days we'll be going deeper into it as we start building simple web pages. Now, by the next 2 weeks, our aim is to be able to achieve a portfolio website. So I want to actually prepare everyone's mind. Your mind should be ready and geared up to actually develop a portfolio website. Yes, you heard me right. Now, but your portfolio website, you want people to be able to open it both on laptop, both on um, any device at all, tablet, name it, and it should still be responsive. It should be fitted. So you can see that all these things, look at those pictures you saw. You can still see 5 of them. You can still see everything. Now, if I expand it, you can see that you still see it increased um, as I opened it again. Now let me go back. Now look at our own we did today. Media query example. You can see that I created a very long box. A very long box. Now, if I reduce my screen now, let me reduce it. You can see that it now resized the box to fit in the screen. Now, the reason why it's showing another color is because I actually initially it's blue on default screen. Now I actually told it once the screen goes below, then once the screen goes from 600px downwards, it should display a background color of aqua. But let me maintain, let me use a well-known color, let me not confuse us. So once the screen reduces below 600px, it should show red. But when you now resize it to the default size, it goes back to show you blue. But let me maintain same color. It's just for we to grasp it. So you can see that it's blue, and then if you reduce the screen, it still shows you blue. That's because I gave it a max width that once from 600px, any screen with 600px downwards, it should display like this. It should, to enable users, to enable everybody be able to still use my website, to have an experience with my website. And so I shouldn't have that excuse of, oh, someone opened the website on tablets and the person is not seeing some part of the website. It's not going to make sense. So with the use of media query, we're able to achieve that. With use of positioning in CSS, you're able to position your elements wherever you want them. With use of grid, you're able to position your elements in an aligned manner, in two-dimensional way, columns or rows, horizontal or vertical. With use of flex, we're able to actually have aligned items, either only on vertical or on horizontal. With this, before I summarize and end the class, let me take in questions. Who asks questions one by one?
Yeah, I have
Yeah, I
question,
have
but
question, but
today lecture
today
is
lecture
is
is
gone far,
gone far,
but it's
but
getting
getting
more. I mean, deeper
more deeper
than before.
than
But
before.
what I want
But
to
what I
ask
want to
is,
ask is,
the one
the
we were
one
taught
we were taught
yesterday.
yesterday,
It's
it's
I mean the
the
box,
box,
the CSS box.
the CSS
So
box.
that
So
one we cannot use
that
it
one we cannot
again.
use it again.
Why using
Why
this
using
one,
this
or
one,
can
or
that
can
one
that
still
one still
remain
remain
in the
in the
website?
website? Why
Why using
using
this
this
CSS
CSS
flexible
flexible
box
box
to create
to create
other thing as
thing
well?
as well? I didn't get that part. You said the one I taught yesterday.
Hello.
Hello? You said the one I taught yesterday.
Yes, sir. The one
Yes,
you
sir.
taught
The one you taught
yesterday,
yesterday.
CSS box,
CSS box.
and this
And this
flexible
flexible
box.
box.
Can the two be
Can the
used
two
at
be
the same
used at the
time
same
on
time
one
on one
website?
website? Oh, what's your name?
Mudashiru.
Mudashiru. Okay, do you know how to contact me on Telegram? Hello? Do you know how to send me a message on Telegram? Okay, so Mudashiru, can you hear me? I can hear you. So please mute your mic, mute your mic, mute your mic.
Shehu Fumi is
For me
speaking.
is speaking. Mute your mic, please. Let me help you mute it. Okay, okay. Shehu Fumi, hold on. Just hold on. Mute your mic first. Shehu, just mute your mic first. Thank you. Now, guys, he asked a question. If you can use the tool, he's not actually inclined. He missed a part. Box, we learned box model. We are still in the process of learning box models. Box models. Box model is not anything different. We have flexbox, grid, and the rest of them. Please, Mudashiru, it's a subtopic we are doing today, which is subtopics we are doing today, which are flexbox, grid, and the rest. Please, everything I taught you yesterday, every single thing I taught you yesterday, width, height, padding, background color, text color, and all of them can all be used together. Please don't get it mixed up. They are all together. You can use all of them together. In fact, you can use grid and flex box in the same project you're building, but you use them as demanded. What and what are you building? What and what are you developing? That would now answer your questions to, am I supposed to use a grid? Am I supposed to use a flex? You know, so that's it. That's it.
Okay, thanks, sir. Okay, thanks, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Please mute your mic. Sheyi, can you go on now? Hello, Sheyi, can you go on? Sheyi Fumi. Okay. Who has questions?
I have a question.
Please, okay, go on. Attendance is now open. Please go in and start signing in. Attendance is now open. Go in and start signing in. Thank you. Tick your boxes. Go on.
Okay, if the media query helps us adjust our website to any screen.
I can't hear you. You're not audible, sir.
1 minute.
Media query helps us adjust our website any screen that it is available on display.
Mm-hmm.
So those websites when you have to rotate from view to full website, like you have to put your phone on landscaping, or you have to scroll again to the end. Is it that those websites like there was no code for media query on them? What the person that designed those websites were not inclined enough to put it in it.
Answered your question as perfect as that. Do you observe that as of 10 years ago, Mr. If you can observe well, those times we used to use Symbian phones, can't even remember those phones. And then we'll be browsing the internet that if you go to some of those sites, you now have to carry you will use your this in scroll, just be scrolling. You can't even see most parts of the website. Mr. Do you still remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Exactly. Those websites at that time lacked media queries, and you wouldn't even blame them. Technology was not as sweet as it is now, that you have devices that you can. How would you enjoy doing things using a BlackBerry Curve or Bold? You know, now we have iPhones, we have touch screens and all of that. Majorly, all our gadgets are not button based anymore. So screens. Now, the introduction of this now actually also introduced the use of media queries. Was it there before? Yes, but was it in usage, active usage? No. So with the introduction of that, large devices, the use of media queries became mandatory. So depending on the developer, you can it's your choice to either use media queries or not. You can just be ruthless and say, why am I using media queries? It's the person's business. If you use any device and enter my site and it's not aligning, now your own business. I don't have any business with that. If you're not seeing it, scroll, shift the website, do your device, rotate your device and view it. Nothing concern me. But that's not neat. That's not correct. To ensure that your work is neat and makes sense, you should use media queries for all your websites you're building to ensure that no matter how little and no matter how large my device I use, I should be able to access your website and see how clean and see every part of the website without adjusting this, adjusting that, you know, that's just it. That's just it. So, Mr. You answered your question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, in summary, everybody sign in your attendance. It will be locked in by 5:10. 5:10, it will be locked in. In this vein, I would
I want to
be.
ask a question.
Go on. Sylvester, go on.
Thank you for the class so
Thank you for
far.
the class so far.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you, sir.
What I want to
What
say
I want
is,
to say is,
I had
I
problem
had
joining
problem
the
joining
earlier
the earlier
classes. Is there any
classes.
way
Is
we
there any
can
way we
access
can
the
access the
videos?
videos? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you go to the resources, it's even on. I will upload them on your dashboard. You can see the last two classes from last week on your dashboard if you navigate. Then also, if you go on YouTube, type
Okay, thank you,
CareerEx,
sir.
thank you, you will see the videos. Yes, thank you very much. All right, so at this point, it's already 5 p.m. I want to summarize in 1 minute. Now, um, the class is getting heated up. What I mean is, it's about to get heated up. You need to take your seat belt. You need to use your seat belt. Yes, this sweet and this easiest way to overcome this bumpy ride would be to actually practice. Now, I've taught you guys flexbox, grid, positioning, media queries, and then um, media queries, positioning, grid, and flexes. Good. What you now do for yourself till we meet on Saturday is to be reading all of these, master them, read them over and over again, binge on YouTube videos, go on AI models, search for them, search for resources, eat every single line of them, practice it over and over again. Then when you practice, clean your entire code, try to write it off here, and then like try to understand each line of your code and know what it is meant to do. When you do this over and over again, you tend to master the art of doing it. Now, when we now come on Saturday and introduce a new thing again, I've not checked the course outline. I don't know what the next class is, although it's me that developed it, created it. So I'll check the course outline and then come on Saturday. When I come on Saturday and introduce the topic for that, it shouldn't be looking new to you again. It shouldn't be looking strange for you because you've overcome last class. So for you to be able to store this information you've had now, you need to go back and eat every single line. Watch this video over and over again so that it gets into you for proper understanding. So that when you're given a major project, because everybody will do a project, and you would use every single part you've been taught in this class. So to ensure that you don't miss it and you don't get it wrong, please go back, read, watch the videos, and master the art. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a lovely week.
What of the
What
class,
of
sir?
the class, sir?
Next class,
Next class,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Hello,
Oh,
sir.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the class would be, I would put out a poll. So to give space, because you've had a class today, I'll give you, in fact, no need to put out a poll. On Tuesday, let me make this announcement. On Tuesday, we would be having a 1 hour class. It won't even be up to an hour. The reason for the class is to help you use VS Code and GitHub. Yes, I need to have the class to be able to give out project-based assignments and to be able to relate with you. Now, I'll put my GitHub name on the group so that I am able to connect with every one of you so that I can be able to guide you guys through. So please, on Tuesday, we would be having a class. Prepare yourself for it, mentally prepare yourself for it. I'll give out the time tomorrow, which is Monday. I've not decided on a time yet because I know that I might have schedules. So I want to confirm my schedules on Monday and then give out the time. Once I give out the time, you will see it on the group. All you need to do is just join when it's time. It's still this same platform. I will start a call, you join, and then we begin. Is that clear enough? Okay. Thank
Hello,
you,
sir.
everyone. Hello, sir. Stephen, what's the issue?
Please,
Please,
I'm
I'm
unable
unable
to
to
sign
sign
into
into
the
the
platform.
Ah, is it password error
I'm
or
trying
what?
to.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes. The panel